following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Ambar Garcia, Brian Broaddus, Vach Lombardi, and Derek Eagleton.
Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of The Break presented by ALG. Today is another beautiful day here in California. Derek is not here with us, but we have Brian and then Vach over there.
Hey.
We're going to talk some football today. Cowboys had their first padded practice, but before we get into the details of that, I wanted to start off just going through all the news that have occurred throughout the weekend, starting off with Jake Ferguson and the deal that he signed with the Cowboys. Last show, we went through some of those deals that we were expecting or thinking that could potentially happen, and Jake was one of the names that was mentioned in that conversation. He signs a deal with the Cowboys, 4-year extension, roughly around $52 million. What do you guys think about this deal and how it was made out?
Shouts out to Jake. I love him to pieces. I know Dak loves him. I didn't think that he was going to be the first guy out to get his money. You know, normally when you see the guys that get prioritized get their money, it's in that money five group, the pass rushers, the pass blockers, quarterbacks, wide receivers, DBs. And there are guys on this list that fit that, right?
Yeah.
Pickens is around, Bland is around, Tyler is around, Mike is going to get his money. We're not worried about that at all. I didn't anticipate Jake, the tight end, to get his money first, but what this kind of said to me is that, hey, we're going to live and die by Dak. We're going to roll with Dak. If this was a team that's rebuilding or something like that, then maybe Jake gets to go to Cleveland or Jacksonville. We'll draft another guy, and we'll keep building our roster. What this means to me is that they're building around Dak, and they want Dak's favorite guy or one of his favorite guys here. There have been times where we've been watching film, Brian, to where the DC for the other team isn't all the way worried about Lamb. They're worried about Ferguson because that's where Dak is looking. So to me, instead of signing someone that's probably of a higher name or a higher dollar amount, they knock Ferg out, and I would assume that this is tied to Dak somehow.
Yeah, this, it's very interesting. To me, this is very reminiscent of, and it's going to blow you away here, Jalen Smith.
For sure. Yep.
When we had the holdout, the Zeke holdout, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, what did Jalen Smith do? He jumped in there and got a deal done.
Ready.
And so, and I think there's a couple of things here, guys, that really kind of need to be talked about, is that if you're willing to work with the Cowboys and you're not going to be one of the highest paid at that position, if you look at how this contract slots for the tight ends, it's roughly about the 7th best contract for a tight end. So obviously the player was comfortable. The Cowboys were comfortable the way they negotiated it. And, Jake Ferguson says, listen, we keep hearing Vach Lombardi tell me about, Bland and all these other guys that need to get signed. And then we kind of put down where we thought Jake Ferguson was going to go. Boy, he jumped right to the head of the line because he was willing to do the deal. Not a team-friendly deal, but it wasn't the highest paid at the position. It wasn't resetting the market, something that Stephen Jones and them are very, very comfortable doing.
He, if I'm not mistaken, he did make history here with the franchise, specifically highest tight end paid in franchise history with the Cowboys. So that he was all smiles yesterday on the field. And since we're talking about tight end, let's talk about a guy that has been mentioned a lot throughout camp, Brevin Spanford. And he goes out with an ankle injury. What are you guys hearing about this injury?
Yeah, well, Spanford is in a situation right now where, and Hunter Lipke, and if you follow along Vach Lombardi, you should, because at practice he actually has the video on his Twitter account where the injury occurred, and you could see that Hunter Lipke goes into the back of his legs. I thought it was his knee initially, but it was his ankle area. They're calling it a sprained ankle right now, but they're going to do the MRI. I don't know if the MRI was done yesterday or will be done this morning. We'll likely have more information this afternoon about that, but it was a pretty nasty injury with the way that Hunter Lipke went right into the back of Spanford's leg. Ambar, you've mentioned it. He's been outstanding in these practices.
Brian, on that point, I'm glad you said it. I just want to double down with you. I don't think this injury moves Brevin at all. Like some guys can't afford to get hurt. Like, we'll just be honest.
Deuce Vaughn
can't afford
exactly,
to miss, because there's guys Jadon Blue's ready.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you look behind Brevin, there's Luke, there's some other guys, there's Valdo Fairweather. Like these guys are ready to go right now. I don't think Brevin's moved at all.
Yeah.
If Brevin is out until week 1, I think he's going to be tight end too week 1. I think he's done that much in just this short amount of time to kind of show what he's able to do and how they're going to use him. And me and my guy Will Steele, shouts out to him, we always talk about having these loud camps.
Yeah.
Some guys have quiet camps, right? And Luke Schoonmaker is quietly having a cool camp. He's making some catches, some cool blocks. He's moving around. Fine. Brevin is making big catches on the sideline.
Separation.
In the red zone, back of the end zone, big catches over people. And we're going at big blocks. So we're going, hey, Brevin, I think Brevin's locked this thing up. Everybody else is kind of fighting for their spot. But I don't think him missing any time, whether it be a week or two, it doesn't sound too bad. Whether it's a week or two, I think when Brevin comes back, he'll be still at tight end too.
And we should have throughout the day probably more information on that
Absolutely,
after they examine his injury fully. But another injury that happened yesterday, that one is a bigger one, is guard Rob Jones. He injures his neck and he is wearing now a neck brace, and he went out and finished practice, but turns out that after they did all the analysis, he is expected now to be out for 2 or 3 months while he recovers. One, how was he doing at camp based on what you guys have seen so far? And 2, we'll get into what this means for that room.
Well, you've got an O-line expert on the panel here right now, so give it to me, O-line
You
expert.
say you've been watching and
Yes,
analyzing up close.
these are his
awesome.
guys. These are his guys.
Rob Jones was doing just fine. There's 2 depth guys that are really blowing me away.
Yeah.
Rob Jones and Hakeem Adeniji. Both of those guys made me feel like, hey, if anything were to happen at right guard and right tackle, I feel really comfortable. Normally, some of our depth guys are like young guys that need to step up, or just like a TJ Bass was an important depth guy for us at some point. Rob Jones started for the Dolphins last year. Hakeem Adeniji has started. He's played a lot of games, Cincinnati Bengals and all this. So these are guys that have played that I have a lot. So just yesterday, I didn't know his neck was broke because he finished practice. He just kept on moving. I was like, man, we are sitting pretty at depth. And then, Hoffman's another guy, right? So as far as your second team offensive line, we're good to go. But this is a major blow. They trust Rob Jones enough to where, let's just be clear, everybody. I know that there's the news that came out about Booker and how he kind of rotated out and Rob Jones was the first guard the day before. Schottenheimer had to put his 10 toes down somewhere to confirm what he's been saying. This is open competition. We are competing and nobody's going to get special treatment. So if you're Tyler Booker and you're in team period, which is important, and you're missing stunts and you didn't pick it up as fast, well, Rob Jones, starter for the Dolphins, he's seen this gap exchange before. He's seen slants before. So while Booker's working on that, Rob was ready to go, and the coaching staff trusted Rob Jones enough to run with the first team. So it's a massive blow in terms of your depth. But normally when we hear people neck broke, they can't play football no more. They can't play football for the rest of the year.
He even stayed for the rest of the practice. That's crazy.
Because we're tough. We mean the
That
offensive
is
line.
crazy.
We're tough. But 2 to 3 months, he'll be back in November with Overshone, and we'll be right back to depth.
Well, your thoughts on that, Brian?
Yeah, I think Vach really hit the nail on the head when you watched him play. It's kind of one of those things where when he was in the lineup the other day, and and Booker was out, and you're thinking like, okay, something happened with Booker, and then Booker goes in with the twos. No, it's just Rob Jones getting ready. Vach mentioned that a veteran player. He's seen the games up front. They're just trying to get him a look, get him some work, and then, see, and maybe that gives Booker a little reset of, okay, hey, I don't have to, he was talking about how these practices have been like geometry for him.
Yeah.
He's just having to, it's having to study and having to do all the things to be able to get himself ready to play. But that's a little bit of a blow because Jones, in a couple of the reps that I saw, and I know, again, Vach has been watching these offensive linemen pretty close, I've seen some pull, some counter stuff, and Jones was doing a pretty solid job when they were asking him to do some of the movement stuff, which I kind of had a little bit of some questions about, but it's unfortunate that he's now suffered this injury.
Let's go ahead and get into the moment of practice.
We got one more injury, right? One more injury concern, right?
Who?
Per Vach Lombardi. So Terrence Steele went down a couple of days ago with his ankle situation. Nobody really saw it, and Brian can confirm per Vach Lombardi right on the thing yet. So I was like, hey,
It's been so long though. It feels like it's been like a whole week.
Oh, it's
ago.
all right. It's all right. I've been watching offensive line and nothing but.
Go ahead.
Terrence Steele did dress up. Terrence Steele warmed up. He was taped heavily and he went through the drills and stretching and all this. Then he went over to the individual. I was like, oh, there's no way Terrence Steele, after this ankle sprain, is going to go over there and participate in individuals. And he's kind of thumping helmets, moving around, reaching and pull blocks and all that. I said, okay, cool, Terrence Steele, you look fine on that ankle. But when it was time to start team, Terrence sat down, and over on the side, he was still kind of working his ankle out, just doing some drills, just kind of, being safe about it. So what that means to me is if Terrence Steele had to play today, if there was a game today, if it was a Super Bowl today, Terrence Steele would be good to go. But they're being safe with him. And we've heard Schottenheimer say we're being safe. So if you don't see Terrence out there today, it's probably because they're just being cool with him. But he was looking decent when he was moving around and all this kind of stuff. So don't worry about Terrence Steele. He'll be fine too.
Which I'm absolutely fine with, taking him slow and giving reps to the other guys in there, taking that opportunity for that. But he looks like he's on a good path and nothing to be very concerned about. I was going to move into now a moment from, and this is the setup that Derek has created for the show. Every show we're going to come up here and give a moment of practice and a player that stood out to us or a play. So what is a moment? Let's start off with just the moment, and then we'll go to break after that. Moment of practice that caught your eye.
So my moment, and just in case anybody was unclear, Brian, bro, I'm watching offensive line and nothing but it. Don't ask me nothing about safeties. I can't see. But I was really curious to see how Tyler Booker would respond to Rob Jones kind of being in that first group, right? I'm like, so cool, here's my moment. I just want to see what he, like, is he going to mope around? Is he going to drag? Is he going to turn his head to the side like some people probably would? And Tyler Booker was enthusiastic. Tyler Booker, when Rob Jones came back, he would ask a question, but when it was time for Tyler Booker to go back with the first team, Tyler Booker started whooping feet. If you go around, I believe it was Nick Harris's Twitter, like, hey, man, Tyler Booker just kind of put Osa on the ground. Tyler Booker was excited to get back in there and prove that, hey, this is mine too. So that dude is a great teammate. He's a young dude that understands how this thing works. Hey, man, with my opportunity, this thing happened. Rob Jones got his, shots out to Rob. But when it's my time again, I'm coming to take mine back. So I was really encouraged to see Tyler Booker not mope, not be down about it. When he got his opportunity, he put some grass stains on Osa's pants.
Yeah, I think to me the moment for me in practice, and it actually was pre-practice, and it happened on the tennis courts behind us here. When you looked at when Brian Schottenheimer went up there, and Vach Lombardi and I were standing there watching this press conference, and here's a guy that, he's talking about the offensive line, and we're talking about running the football, and that's been really the emphasis has been, how do you run the football? How do you run the football? All these things. And then the head coach stands up, and then his father, Marty Schottenheimer, was really one of the inventors of 9-on-7, which is a run period, which is just everybody knows what's about to happen. It's all run, no pass. Well, here's the son comes out and says, I'm not a fan of 9-on-7. And I kind of looked at Vach, he looked at me, and I'm like thinking, how are they going to run the football? Or how are they going to practice running the football if they don't have 9-on-7? And the coach says, I believe in 11-on-11. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, you know what? I don't know how you're going to do this, coach, but here we go. We get out here in team, the first 10 plays, 9 of them were runs. Yeah. He practiced 11-on-11 without a 9-on-7 period. He went wide receivers blocking, backs blocking, tight ends blocking, whoever could, offensive line, anybody that could block, he put heavy guys out there, heavy personnel, put extra tackles out there. Vach was talking about, hey, that you might not call him a heavy the tackle. It was like a tight end. You got an exchange, like a movement stuff. But I didn't know how Brian Schottenheimer was going to practice running the football. He took team period, 11-on-11, which is very, very, very rare nowadays to see somebody commit that many plays in a row to running the football. That early period right there kind of opened my eyes because there were some nice gaps created. The defense fought, so it was a little bit of a back and forth with these groups. But that was my moment right there because I was really stuck with how he was going to practice running the football without a 9-on-7 period.
Brian, I was so impressed with the mindset because it's not something that I'm used to. Like back in my day when I was balling, we called it run hole.
Yeah.
Right? So we're out there, it's the 5 offensive linemen versus your front 6 or 7 guys, and the wide receivers would be over there.
Doing another drill.
Doing something different, running routes or blocking or something. But how he was explaining it is that, hey, we run 11-on-11 in a game.
Yeah.
So why don't we do this? And this is a relatively, not a new playbook, but we're doing things differently here.
Right.
So when we talk about these formations being tighter and things like that, if you're CeeDee Lamb and there happens to be, to be a play where you got to crack the linebacker or something like that, there's a certain angle that you need to practice that. You need to work on the details of this kind of stuff, right? If you're Pickens, you're a part of this run thing. So how come when we're practicing run downs, we don't have wide receivers involved? Man, Brian Schottenheimer said, look, in the game when we run the ball, wide receivers are going to get involved. In practice, when we run the ball, wide receivers are going to get involved. And I thought that was brilliant. Shouts out to Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah.
That was new for me.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting and encouraging when you see someone doing that, especially you're new at this job, right? So sometimes you can potentially try to do things, play it safe.
Sure.
Go for what you know kind of works. And to do what he's doing now, I'm excited. I was about to say the F. I'm freaking excited.
Yeah.
I'm freaking excited for this season.
And also too, like just me as a bystander, when pads come on, the day one of pads, I was like, yeah, let's get these one-on-ones in. And based on because they ran the team all day,
a whole day,
from front to back.
Yeah.
So in my mind, if you're looking for one-on-ones at practice, your one-on-one is just look over at left tackle and just watch Tyler Booker go against Donovan Ezraku. That's your one-on-ones right there. But it's going to be in context of team period, and I'm cool with that.
Let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we're going to get into player of the practice player.
Man of the match?
Man of the match. Hey, we missed that guy. Where's he at?
I love
We don't know.
Man of the match.
All right, let's go to break and we'll come back.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. There's no appointment needed and no waiting room. Yep, you heard that correctly. Take 5 is so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's fast, friendly, and simple service at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Life doesn't stop when the economy is uncertain. The market might not care you have a wedding to plan or a kid to put through school. And inflation doesn't know you've got a family to feed. But Bank of America does, and is here to help. With digital tools to help you save and local experts nearby, you can keep life moving forward the way you need it to. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Back to the break.
Choose perfection. Choose LG OLED Evo. Check out the best TV in the game at lg.com.
Welcome back to the second segment of the break presented by blockchain.com.
Ding!
Thank you, guys. All right, let's talk about practice player of the first padded practice. Who is the player that stood out to you?
The first player is his son baking my back right now, but it's all right.
It is hot like that.
It's all right. Brian brought us when we were talking about how is this team going to run defend from A-gap. Conventional wisdom would assume that there's going to be some 340-pound character sitting in there taking on double teams to let the linebackers run free. There's only one 340-pound character on his roster right now, and his name is Jay Towie, and he hasn't been getting as many reps as some of the guys that weigh in a little less than him, 308, 310. It varies. Solomon Thomas is getting a lot of reps in there.
Yeah.
Perrion Winfrey.
How about that?
Is the name for me, Brian Bros. He's been getting a lot of reps in there. The Cowboys have gone to is it UFL, USFL, XFL?
UFL.
They've gone to the other football program, and they found these guys every single year.
Yeah.
So Perrion Winfrey is a guy now that coming into this thing, we're going, okay, that's a pretty stacked D-line room. How is it going to operate? If the Cowboys are going to defend the run with burst upfield, length, extension, getting rid of guys, Perrion Winfrey has been doing that at a very, very high level. I don't want to hype him up too bad, Brian, bro, because then people will think I'm saying Perrion's going to be Pro Bowl type guy, right? But simply what I'm saying.
Oh, he is going to be Pro Bowl guy the way he's playing right now.
I hope so. Simply what I'm saying is a guy from the USFL, other league, is coming in and he's playing better than some of the guys that have been on your roster so far. So when you're looking for one text this year as you're watching practice, you're watching some clips or whatnot, don't think about I'm just going to assume that there's a 340-pound guy that's going to be an A-gap. Think more we may have to win our run defense quickly up front. We may have to slant the fronts up front or just use our mind and read keys and things like that. Solomon Thomas is a good name, but Perrion Winfrey has surprised the heck out of me. Keep eyes out for him on practice day.
I'll tell you what, I like what you did there because this guy's played with some snap, Ambar. You watch him extend, and he's fighting BB, and we know BB and Smith and Booker, those are strong guys. Jones, those are some strong guys inside, and he's done a nice job of playing with quickness and playing on their side of the line of scrimmage.
And some motor.
A lot of motor. I'm going to focus on it, and I think that when the pads came on, this guy actually got a little bit better, and that's Jadon Blue. And when you watch Jadon Blue play, I thought yesterday was the most decisive that we've seen him run the football. And I mean when the ball was handed to him, it's like he read the blocks, he saw him develop, and then he was either hitting the whole front side or he was making that cut. There's two guys on this that carry the ball for you right now that are been super explosive. Sanders is one, Blue is the other. Yeah. But it was a really, really nice day for Blue. And the day before, when they were working into the full pads, he had a blitz pickup where he was able to kind of sort some things out. Everything got really muddled in front of him, muddied, and he was able to sort it out. They got the ball out because he was able to pick up the right guy of the blitzer coming. So the mental side of things, that was a good check mark for him there. But, man, the physical side, his ability to just explode through the hole, do it decisively, and the way he was reading, I thought was super impressive yesterday.
We don't want to see anybody hurt, but if you're Deuce Vaughn, you need to come on back.
You need to come on back, yeah.
You need to massage your hamstring. You need to come on back because I feel like Jadon Blue is a guy that once he gets into that lineup or into that part of the depth chart, is going to be really tough for you to take the job back from him. Physically, everything you want, like running back wise, physically, everything. It's all about coaches trusting him lining up in the right place, getting the plays. If it's third down, if it's a blocking assignment, running routes, the depth of the routes, right? And there's been this detail, emphasis on how we're breaking the huddle now. They're getting to the line of scrimmage at different tempos, you know, and if you're going to be doing more shifts and motions, just to not be penalized so much, you have to line up in the right place. And coaches have to trust that you're going to line up in the right place. Not saying that Blue's not getting it all. I'm just saying this is what he needs to continue to do. He needs to continue to do the mental side properly because physically he might be the most gifted out of all of them. Physically.
No question.
He just has to get all the things done. So shouts out to Blue.
Well, aside from Lunda Wells, we know that the whole team coaching staff is all new here with the Cowboys. And I love the guys that you mentioned, but I wanted to give some shine to the coaching staff. And maybe is there a specific coach that has stood out to you on what they have currently been doing with their group?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question, Ambar, because I'm a guy that threw a lot of dirt on Damone Clark, the linebacker. I mean, a lot of dirt. I had him as a crossroads player. Take the path to where you're out of here or go down the path where you find a way to get on the roster here. And he has looked like a different player. And Matt Eberflus is working with the linebackers. And you know, Clark has been one of those guys that didn't really always, the instincts wasn't always there. You know, he kind of saw things late. He was a tick late. Big guy, can really move, but he looks like a different football player out here. Him, Maris Leofau has been really good, but the linebackers as a whole, I think, have looked a lot different. I think Matt Eberflus has done a great job of coaching these guys through the first 5 practices, and especially with Damone Clark, and making him look like a player that might compete for a roster spot.
I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but I've been hyper-focused on offensive line. And
really?
You know, there were questions about who's going to be the more hands-on coach with the O-line.
Yeah.
Is it going to be, you know, Clayton Adams? Is it going to be Connor Riley? It seems like Clayton Adams has taken more of the role of I'm dealing with the offense in general.
Yeah.
But Connor Riley's been the guy that's there teaching the technique, walking through the technique, and really breaking it all down, like not just line up and instruct. Like hey, this is why we're doing this. This is why this is important. And if you watch those drills, it's not like we're lining up, and I say we because I'm an ex-offensive line. It's not like they're lining up and just stepping.
You've been watching so closely that you feel part of the team. You feel like you're in there. You're sweating, getting those reps in.
I'm sweating because it's hot up in, but
There's that breeze.
But when you watch the offensive line, they're working on the plays that we're going to be running.
Yeah.
So if we're running duo blocks, they're working on boom, one guy gets the whole block, one guy gets the half, somebody come off on the linebacker. They're working on those blocks. One of the most important blocks in football is cutting off the backside 3. Just the other day, they were working on cutting the backside 3. So even with Schottenheimer saying, hey, everything that we're kind of doing, there's a purpose to it, that's all the way down to the offensive line coaches, man. Like, hey, we're running these plays. We need to run drills that mirror the type of plays that we're running, and that's what I've been saying.
Let's go ahead and take an earlier break, and then we'll get into who has kind of changed your mind before coming in here, and now you had a certain expectation or mindset, and then now that you've been here watching practices, maybe your mind has kind of started to switch for that player or that coach after this break.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Thank you so much, Brian. We are in the third segment of the break. I know it's still early in camp, but believe it or not, it's already been a week. We've been here a whole week, and I wanted to ask you, and we're gonna do this on both sides of the ball. So, a guy that you had a certain expectations coming here to camp that now has maybe started to change your mind positively. Then we're gonna go to the negative side. So, positively, someone you didn't have too many thoughts on that now has kind of started to catch your eye and impress you.
While I let Brian think of his, I'm just gonna go on my positive offensive side. Tyler Guyton, there was a bunch of questions about him. You know, there was a bunch of curiosity around him. That's really why I was covering the offensive line so heavily, because there's a lot of questions surrounding it. And his biggest thing was improvements on last year. He's not going to be some of these other guys that you think he is. He can only be Tyler Guyton, right? But can he work on the hand placement? Can he work on shooting his hands and not catching so much? Can he work on not, bending at the waist? Can he bend at the knees and things like that? Tyler Guyton, when the pads were not on, were showing me those things, right? But nobody wants to hear when the pads are not on. I have a robust tweet containing about 4 or 5 videos over on my Twitter. Y'all go over there and check that out. But even when the pads are on, Tyler is striking.
Yeah.
Tyler is, maneuvering well, space well, flexibility is, solid. And I think what's important to him is he's figuring out how to deal with different types of pass rushers. Micah's not here, but we ain't worried about whether you can whoop Micah. We just need you a better Tyler Guyton than you were last year. But, Sam, does a long arm move that he has to deal with. Marshawn Nealon is more of a bull rush down the middle guy. Donovan Ezeraku, bendy over the edge. Peyton Turner, more of a power rusher. Yeah. So what I'm seeing from Tyler is he's having to deal with these different types of rushers. Tyler only had one tool in his tool belt last year, right? So seeing him being able to maneuver, versus those different types of guys with his new tool belt, that's very encouraging, Brian.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I like. I mean,
and I'll be thinking of mine while you going. Go ahead.
No, the thing that I think you're absolutely right about Guyton. There was so many times last year where it looked like he was trying to survive the play. Feet were poor, knee bend was poor, hand placement was poor, body position was poor. Shout out to Duke and the crew that was able, and shout out to the kid for realizing that he was at a crossroads, that people were throwing the word bust on his back. And because Dallas has been so accustomed to offensive line plug and play.
Stop it. Put your glasses back on.
Bust,
Stop it.
Bust. Wait, am I right, though? Were there?
Yeah, but they were saying that, boy. Ooh,
yeah, okay. Well,
yes,
I hope I wasn't speaking out of turn.
Nah, you good. They definitely said it.
But they were talking about him as a bust. And, they're like, oh, my gosh, but we're so used to plug and play.
Oh, yeah.
I think you got the player right. I mean, to me, I know what you're doing now. But the thing with Guyton is he doesn't look like he's just trying to survive the play. It looks like he's trying to get the absolute most out of the play and blocking. And I think that's a credit to the kid.
Yeah.
I'm going to say my guy that I felt like that I really had no positive thoughts out of all on offense.
Sure.
And that's Miles Sanders. I was thinking Miles Sanders was over the hill, done. Why are they signing this guy? His career has been going downhill. Philadelphia gave up on him. He goes to Carolina. Maybe that's where Carolina goes, where backs go to die. But I did not have a good, positive outlook about Miles Sanders. Through 5 practice, Miles Sanders has proven me really, really wrong. He's, the media portions of the OTAs and mini camps, we were hearing the guys talk about juice. There was juice with Miles Sanders. He's playing with some juice right now. He looks like a different player. They give him space, the way he's able to make some cuts, the way he's able to finish some runs. Miles Sanders, I owe you an apology through 5 practices because I didn't think you could play dead.
Wow.
Damn. Okay. Player that I didn't think was going to be involved, but they are more involved than I thought on offense was Hunter Lipke, and maybe it's from the previous administrations that, it was always this talk about, hey, we got to get such and such involved. Hey, we got to do our best to get such and such involved. Such and such didn't always get involved after the previous administration would, preach this week after week after week. Watching Hunter Lipke, he's lined up at running back He's lined up at fullback, Brian. He's taking tight end reps. And, in this new offensive these new details that they're adding to the party. It's the same kind of playbook, but these new details where we're running many more shifts and motions. A lot of times, Hunter Lipke is the shift motion guy, right? So if he's at tight end, sometimes he'll shift the fullback. If he's at, wing, he'll motion to be one of the trips receivers, right? Other times he'll take the handoff, right? So I just didn't anticipate Hunter Lipke being involved because we just hadn't seen Hunter Lipke involved. But way to fool old Vach Lombardi. We'll have to see it in preseason games and regular season, but they're using Hunter much more than I thought they did.
Well, I feel he's kind of having like a fresh start in a sense, even though Shoddy was here last year. So, but it's still, I'm hopeful that they do continue to give him different opportunities because he's one of those guys that stays even a little later, still working and doing things, training, and I think he is a very capable, talented back that can be utilized in many different ways that they didn't take advantage of last year.
Sure.
Brian, your next guy for you.
Are you looking for a player that's a positive or a negative?
Now on the flip side, negative.
Negative side.
That you had a higher thought of, and then now
maybe
offense or defense.
This is
Either
defense.
way.
This
okay,
is
we
defense.
just run it on the fly.
This on the fly, and maybe this is unfair to the player. I always see you say that when you're about to say something negative about the guy, or maybe you haven't seen, but you were expecting more.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it from Sam Williams. I haven't seen Sam Williams. I know that there was some thought, and I know he's coming off the knee injury and all that, so maybe I need to give Sam Williams. But I was really, really hopeful that like the year that he had, all the things that he's been kind of going through, he's even come out talked about his contract and what he's trying to do. And maybe it's unfair because of the knee and trying to work his way back. But I just haven't seen that old Sam Williams, that explosiveness. I've seen him, and Vach will tell you, there's been times he gets hooked up with these tackles, whether it's Guyton, Adeniji, Steele. He gets hooked up with these guys, and it's been a little bit difficult for him to kind of make plays. You've seen Fowler, you've seen Ezeraku make plays, you've seen Marshawn Nealon make plays. So I'm kind of been waiting for Sam to kind of maybe get that going again, because I had him very, very high, even coming off that knee injury, Ambar.
You want Sam to flash like Donovan's been flashing.
Yes, I do, and I know he's capable of playing like that, and maybe the knee, maybe and people remind me, damn Brian, it's been a year removed, and but I had him at that. I thinking like Sam Williams is going to be ready to be a factor.
I absolutely agree with you.
And through 5 practices, it's been a very, to use a Vach Lombardi term, a very quiet practice. Very quiet practices for him.
On that same token, then Brian Brush, this guys, and I just want to be fair to the player, right? Because I'm not a, we just can't be poo-pooing on people or whatever. But I would love to see more from Mozzie.
Yeah,
I want to see more from Mozzie.
That's true.
And look, people are asking. They're asking about Mozzie, but I don't feel comfortable just giving an answer quite yet because I just haven't seen him. Right? I haven't seen him flash. Like I know he's out there. He's getting involved and he's dealing with his blocks or whatever, but I'm not seeing him flash. There was this one highlight. It was like a Miles Sanders run, and it was Tyler Smith throwing Mozzie all the way out the club.
Yeah.
I don't mind Mozzie losing to Tyler Smith. I don't want to see Tyler Smith throw anybody on this team out the club. I need you to fight back a little bit. Because at least Booker and Osa, they're fighting a little bit.
Yeah.
Booker's not throwing.
And you mentioned Winfrey earlier, too.
Perion's flashing. Solomon is flashing. Osa is flashing.
Right.
Jay To'e is large, but he's a rookie. We can kind of give him a little grace here or there. This is Mozzie's 3rd year.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Mozzie do a little bit more. I just haven't been seeing him as much as I've been seeing some of these other guys.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about one specific player who has done. He had quite a moment where he caught an interception and then goes out to the crowd, picks up a kid, takes it out, brings it out to the field carrying.
Let me say in general, I think the DBs have been much better than I thought they were going to be as a whole group.
Booth playing well yesterday?
Yeah,
I would have never. That's a throw of dirt on guy. That's a guy that all of a sudden you see. Since Bland has been out, I'll do it real quick. Since Bland's been out, Booth has done a nice job. Carry on, sir.
Yeah, with all these guys being hurt, and Bland's not hurt. He has a family situation, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
So you thinking, we're already a cornerback group to where we're looking looking for the answers and Bland being out every single day consistently. And maybe this is a nod to the coaching staff, Flus and how he wants to operate things, but they're consistently still getting interceptions. Now, the first couple of, practices, they'll get turnovers by fumble and they'll catch picks. The offense goes, okay, we're going to work on this fumble thing high and tight, but they're still getting the interception. So I just want to give a tip of the cap to the DBs there. I'm watching the offensive line, but you can't miss the amount of passes that they're getting their hands on, especially from in Troy Pride. And
Troy Pride.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can see with what's happening on the field, you can see the clear emphasis that the coaching staff is putting on when they're showing when they're having their meetings on tape. There's an emphasis of go for the ball, go get it, don't stop. Even when the whistle blows, they continue the play. You see them going for that, punching out the ball and stuff. So it's been you see the success that they're currently having.
Maris Leofau is a demon when it comes to punching the ball loose right now. And then we've had 5 practices. Elam has 2 interceptions. During it, and the secondary. I thought yesterday was kind of a mixed bag for the receivers, and it wasn't. I don't think that Dak and CD and Pickens were. I don't think it was a great day for them. I thought that Tolbert struggled a little bit yesterday, but it's not because these guys can't make plays. It's because the defensive backs are doing a pretty good job of making some contested opportunities.
Well, this is where I have trouble. Kind of mixed feelings because yes, you want to see both sides making plays, and it's exciting when you see the defense creating all these turnovers, getting these fumbles and all of that, but at the same time, what is that saying for the offense and the way that Dak is throwing these passes and the receivers? I
kind of feel like, and I don't know if Vosh feels this way, I've really appreciated these practices because what you see is an offensive win, and then the very next play you see a Maris Leofau punch the ball out. And so it really has balanced itself out. You've seen some really good hard runs by Sanders and some crushing blocks from Voch's guys up front. And then the very next play you see Solomon Thomas beat BB up the field for a tackle for loss.
So you feel like it's been pretty balanced?
It has been very, very balanced. If one team was just kicking their other team's ass that way, I would say, and I'm reading some training camp reports at the Bears. Everybody's like, well, the Bears offense is not really what this coach, they're not really, That's not the case out here. You will see maybe a good play or two by the offense, and then the very next play, Elam will come up with an interception. Or Booth will knock the ball down, or Maris Leofau will punch the ball loose, or Solomon Thomas gets up the field and makes a tackle. It's been a very, very balanced 5 days of football here at camp.
Well, with Kair Elam specifically, a guy that has been mentioned a lot, any other thoughts on the way that he's continuously played out here at camp and some of the things that he's doing and where he falls in that room?
He's giving Jalen Tolbert fits, and if Deron Bland is not here, he's your best corner.
Yeah,
he's your best corner right now, and I know there's a lot of Cowboy fans that may have reservations about Kair Elam. Like, that was one game in Buffalo versus Kansas City where he kind of got torched real bad. That's it. But for the most part, Kair Elam has been consistent. He's been consistent. He's always around the football, and he's not just kind of giving Jalen Tolbert a hard time.
I'm glad you say that. Yeah,
he's giving Pickens a hard time. He's getting there with Lamb too. So he's made plays on everybody. So Kair Elam, he's doing well. Please.
Yeah, no. I'm glad you said that because I know this morning on Twitter somebody asked me, they want to say, well, all I see is Elam make plays against Tolbert. No, he's covering who's ever in front of him, whether it's whether it's Turpin or whether it's Pickens.
He's not traveling.
He's not traveling, but whoever's playing in front of him, he is doing a good job. So this is where you have to kind of be careful when you watch these practices with the clips. You got to be careful because there might be a clip where all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's getting torched. But then, like I mentioned, there's 2 or 3 plays behind that where the guy actually makes a play, and you don't see that. So you're a little bit of the mercy of the play and how you see it and how it's presented. But overall, though, I think that Elam has been a very, very welcome addition to a team that was really struggling with their cornerback play.
Yeah.
Well, before we end the show, and before we got here to camp, we talked in one of our last shows that the cornerback room was one of the areas to look for us. Kind of watch out, be concerned a little bit as we continue to wait on Trevon Diggs' recovery to get back on the field. Where is your concern level right now based on week 1 of what you've seen in that room with the cornerbacks?
Still concerned. Still be worried. Because as you know, we know as Cowboy fans, viewers, analysts, just because you're good at one corner doesn't mean you good at the other one.
Yeah.
So you would love it. You would love if Kalen Carson started tearing it up. You would love it. You would love if Booth gets 3 or 4 more days like he's had. Because I was watching Revel over on the situation over there, and he's kind of going around Twitter right now. I don't think Revel's going to be he's not even practicing right now.
Yeah.
So don't count on him to step in and save you. Diggs, we don't know when Diggs is going to be back. You can count on Deron Bland, but you for the most part you need 3 corners that can go out there. And
Ravel is working. He's been with Britt Brown, but yesterday he did a little bit more. I know the clip that as Tommy Yarish posted that clip, that didn't look good.
It didn't.
That did not look good at all. And so we'll see. I mean, they were. I was told initially that hopefully that he could practice when at some point in time in this training camp. I know that clip wasn't a very good one for him, but Tommy came back and said, well, wait a minute, he's had some, it's again the one clip thing, but there's some concern about this group, but at least with Bland and the key really is going to be Hall playing the nickel, and I think if you go opening day, it's probably going to be Elam, Bland, and Hall, unless something changes. Those I think are going to be the starting 3 when the Cowboys roll out in Philadelphia on that Thursday night.
It'll be very interesting, but we'll see. Today, the Cowboys have their second padded practice, so stay tuned at that. Thank you guys so much. With that, we end the show. For Botch Lombardi, Brian Broaddus, and Amber Garcia, this has been The Break on DallasCowboys.com/radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?